What is up, everybody? Welcome into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone joining us over the phone. He's been boots down at the Combine all week. Jack, you're repping a Jack Eichel jersey. I know we're going to talk some Blue Jackets later, but before we dive into any of the topics today, it is Wednesday, February 28th, 2025, the final day of the dreaded month of February. And guys, I can't tell you how excited I am to flip the calendar to March, even though it seems pretty minimal. And I really do think you got to get to April to get the good weather, good in quotation marks, better than what we have now. At least it's a sign. Spring training is in the midst. We're getting closer to that, I believe, at Tokyo, right? Or is it Korea where they play those first couple games before the real regular season starts? How you guys feeling? The weather feels nice today. You can wear shorts if you want. How you guys doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to hear from Nick, man. I mean, I woke up today, I was driving into work, and I'm getting all these notifications like Sanders loves Cleveland. We got this. I saw Jay Dart out there rocking the backwards hat. Nick had it all covered for at Big Play or at Nick Padone 12, unselfish plug. So he's had the big morning, not me.
Nick, you got us, brother?
Yeah, I got you guys. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, Jack. Can you hear Mr. Nick?
Yes, I can. Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Oh, we're locked in. Nick, how you doing? How's Indy today?
Good. Locked in here, joining you guys from some quiet hallway in the convention center. They were playing some kind of like creepy Christmas music, so I had to walk away from where I was sitting when I clicked on before the show. But I'm glad you guys could still hear me. And yeah, it was a cool day. You know, quarterbacks today, so definitely the biggest media presence. And yeah, I asked a lot of questions, had a lot of things answered.
Now, today's your final day in Indy, correct?
Yeah, I'm getting out of here in not too long.
Okay, well, safe drive home. I'm assuming you drove, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the Tesla, is that one charge? Does the Tesla get you there and back?
Gotta be two.
Yeah, no, we could get one.
Wow.
We could get one somewhere in like Mount Gilead, Ohio, which is like outside of Columbus. That'll be our one stop.
All right, Nick, I want to start with Abdul Carter. News came out yesterday. He has I believe they're calling it a stress reaction in his right foot. People thought he might need surgery. It comes out, doctors told him they don't need it. His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, tells ESPN they don't expect this to be a factor in his draft stock. He plans to work out at Penn State's Pro Day on March 28th, so we won't see him until then. What's the latest you got on Abdul Carter, potential number one pick in this year's draft?
Yeah, potential number one pick, and definitely not going to slide out of the top, 3, 4, 5 picks as a result of this news. I mean, it seems like every single day that I've been here, it's been something new with Abdul Carter. You know, he's not working out here because of the shoulder. Now it's the foot. There's been a lot of questions all week from different reporters from really around the country about his size. So yeah, just another wild Abdul Carter headline that came out. Really, it was, late Wednesday evening and into yesterday was the hot topic of discussion. But yeah, I don't think it's going to impact his draft stock much. Like the thing with where we're currently at with the current situations and landscape of this draft is like there's still a lot of uncertainty about what the Titans want to do at number one. And I think there's some growing momentum that Cam Ward is kind of just has a little bit of separation from Shedeur Sanders, and obviously neither one of those guys are going to throw tomorrow when the QBs work out. So we'll have to wait for the pro days for that. But it seems like Tennessee, like Cleveland, keeping all their options open, which, I mean, we came here expecting that. So more of the same.
So, Nick, gearing more towards our Cleveland Browns, anytime you hear any athlete say anything about even remotely wanting to be in Cleveland, you get the warm and fuzzies. Like going back in the day, Jarvis Landry gets traded here in the offseason, talking about changing the culture around. That shit's contagious on Hard Knocks. Hearing Shedeur Sanders this morning, if you don't want to change the culture, you're not with me, or whatever he said, get with me, or don't get with me. How is the vibe around Shedeur to Cleveland going down currently in Indy? Because he had some pretty strong words this morning.
Yeah, I mean, the Browns they're keeping their options open. They've met with all of the top options all the way down to Kyle McCord, out here. So, I mean, they're literally meeting with everybody. And I don't think they really have a preference yet. If you ask 10 different people, whether it's, media or, team personnel, people in the know, you'll get a bunch of different answers of what direction that they could go. I'll say this about Shedeur, like that's a young man and, really a surprise to nobody. It just exudes confidence and maybe could be misunderstood or misrepresented as cockiness. He's got the thick skin that I believe personally is required to be the quarterback that changes the culture in Cleveland. And he said it, look at his track record. when he was asked about the Browns, he was like, look at my track record. Like, I turned around Jackson State at the HBCU level. Then we went to Colorado, which was, kind of he didn't say this, but it was a joke, of a D1 school, and he went there and turned that around. So, I mean, he has the confidence and swagger that I believe is required to turn around the Cleveland Browns, especially because we know that this isn't going to be an easy task. And I think he is an individual that understands that, and he spoke as such this morning.
Nick, when we're talking about Cam Ward, it came out he will not be throwing at the combine either. He's going to reserve for the Miami Pro Day, similar to how Shador will be at Colorado's Pro Day throwing. Listen, this isn't 1990s, early 2000s anymore. This is 2025. Does anybody care that these guys are saving themselves and aren't throwing at the combine and electing rather to throw at their pro days?
No, not at all. And Kevin Stefanski was actually asked that same direct question, Ryan, and he said, listen, these guys have, a ton on the line these next couple of months. Like, and think about it, they do. Like, and so it's cool that Stefanski understands. Like, there's tens of millions of dollars at play, and Shador Sanders and Cam Ward are two prospects that have nothing to lose. They're absolute locks of top 3 picks, barring something unforeseen. So, they have nothing to gain by throwing in the combine. They can only lose. So, yeah, Stefanski was kind of pointed in saying that, yeah, it doesn't matter at all. And it was interesting as well. Another takeaway that I had from here, he's not one that has typically traveled to pro days. He told us yesterday, or Wednesday rather, that he's going to be traveling. So he's going to go meet with these kids again after Indy at their pro days, which I thought was interesting.
So, Nick, last night I got the chance. I was watching TV with my dad, checked out the linebackers running their 40s. How cool is it to actually watch these drills in person? Like, is there ever any, like, audible oohs and ahs or groans coming out when someone, like, drops a pass or something?
Did anybody's dicks fall out this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely different than watching it on TV. The one thing that I missed a little bit was just like, I mean, the NFL Network does a phenomenal job with like the overlays and kind of the commentary. So you don't get that, obviously. Like, it's very quiet in there, and it's kind of like I don't want to say like a church service, but yeah, it's really quiet in there. So
there's no like PA,
experience.
There's not like a PA announcer who's like, up next for the 40, Jack Kaiser, Notre Dame. There's nothing like that, like to indicate to people in the stands.
Yeah, but that's about the extent of it. Like they announce they read the name and they read the guy's number that they have on the shirt, and then they run. They don't even announce the time.
Oh wow.
So it's different.
You're telling me they couldn't get the corpse of Al Michaels to call the combine this year?
Dude, that would require a big check.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if Indy Combine's pulling that. Nick, this might seem like a question that the answer is obvious, but which team are you gathering is more, I don't know if I want to use the word desperate, but I'm going to use the word desperate. Between the Titans and the Browns, number 1 and number 2, do you get a sense that one team, and it seems like at this point the Titans might be less desperate than the Browns, given that they're talking about Travis Hunter at number 1 or Abdul Carter potentially. But listen, it's not even March yet. There's smoke screens thrown all around at that place. Right. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's the Browns. I think they're always looking to add talent, so like you can never rule out a player like Travis Hunter, who, like Andrew Berry said, could score a touchdown every time the ball touches his hands. That's whether it be on offense or defense. That's true. I believe that. Abdul Carter, a game-changing defensive end. We saw the luxury of having one of those these last 8 seasons with Myles Garrett. Important. But I think they're kidding themselves if they're not seriously keyed in on this quarterback class. And I know so much has been said about this being a little bit of a weaker class, and that chatter has definitely been alive and well in Indy. But I think they understand that while they might not be solely responsible in Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry for making the sin of Deshaun Watson, it's up to those guys to repair the damage that has been done and do it in a short amount of time. So I think that the Browns definitely feel a little bit of urgency. I don't know if they feel desperate, but a little bit of urgency to factor in, to figure out this quarterback at number 2, because this is a position that they don't want to be in again. And candidly, they probably can't be.
Nick, you said you kind of get the feeling that nothing's destiny, but you're getting the vibe Shador Sanders to Cleveland. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I saw reports Kevin Stefanski loves Shador, reportedly, the way he would fit into his scheme. Do you think the Browns right now, if let's just say Shador goes 1, if they got Cam Ward, would they be thrilled, or do you almost feel a sense of, damn, we missed out on Shador?
No, I don't think it's that far along yet. I think you could easily make the inferences that, like, that Shador has all of the traits that the Browns have been very vocal about wanting. He's, a good decision maker. That's their primary want in their next quarterback. That's been the buzzword around India's decision making. And you look at these two in their college careers, Cam Ward and Shador Sanders. Sanders has been the better decision maker. He's smart. I heard positive things about what happened in the meetings just from his, intellect and personality shines through. But I don't think that they're far along yet to say, like, he's for sure number one on their board, or vice versa, or that they love Cam Ward's athletic ability and what he can do with the football in his hands. So I just don't think they're far enough along yet to make any of those inferences for sure. I mean, they're still meeting with all of these guys. Milroe, is going to do some work as well. That's another guy that hasn't been mentioned, but that Tommy Reese connect keeps coming up here in Indy. So you can't rule out anything yet.
Nick, also, the Browns don't just make one pick in the NFL draft. They have a bunch coming up after number 2 overall.
11.
Have there been any guys that you've heard of? And obviously it's so early, like I'm sure we don't have pinpointed, here's the D lineman we're going to take in the 5th round. But have there been any names, like maybe outside of that top 30 or so, that you've heard linked to the Browns so far, or that you have seen maybe at the combine that you think would fit?
Yeah, I think Harold Fannin Jr. Told me that he did meet with the Cleveland Browns, both at the Senior Bowl and had another meeting with them here at the Combine. I know he's been a mock draft darling for Browns fans out there. Big receiving threat at the tight end position as the Browns look to get younger and kind of retool the roster. I think he could be a fit. I really think, the tight end spoke yesterday. I feel like somebody that spoke yesterday out of that tight end group is going to wind up in Cleveland. And then the defensive linemen, I think that's just another position that the Browns are always going to look to kind of improve, whether it be on that edge. Landon Jackson out of Arkansas had a great combine yesterday, and I was there at Lucas Oil to see him do the vertical jump, run the 40. Like, he looked like a complete athlete out there. So that's another name to watch. If you wanted him, you'd probably have to take him right there at 33. So maybe a little bit early to tell, but yeah, Harold Fannin Jr. was the one non-QB that really sticks out in my mind that told me personally that he met with Cleveland on multiple occasions now.
Nick, appreciate you hopping on a call here from Indy. Tell us what's on the agenda today, and we'll get you back out at the Combine.
Yeah, for sure. We got some position groups coming up next. I'm gonna do some running backs, some receivers, wrap up the day, get some more clips out, and I'll see you guys for a fun weekend of content.
All right, buddy. Yeah, speaking
That's
of,
the rumor.
We do have a fun weekend of content. That's for sure. Nick, good luck. Boots on the ground there at the Combine. We appreciate you coming on.
Thanks. See you guys.
All right, everybody, stick around. We'll be right back here on The Big Factor.
See you, Nick.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke. We were joined earlier by Nick Padone, boots on the ground there at Indy for the Combine. Appreciate him hopping on. We're brought to you today and every day, of course, by our great friends at Fairway Ford Ohio. Fairway Ford is the biggest Ford truck dealership in the state. They have the largest selection of Ford F-150s as well as Super Duty trucks, and I promise you they will not be beat on price by any other Ford dealers. Do not let a short drive to Canfield prevent you from saving thousands. Yes, that's thousands of dollars on your new truck. Fairway Ford, the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, lowest pricing in the same hometown level of service. Visit fairwayfordohio.com. That's fairwayfordohio.com. Jack, we actually got some cool news this weekend, or not this weekend, but earlier this week at the auto show. We're hoping to plan a trip to Canfield, Ohio to do a live show of the Big Factor there. Maybe getting in some vehicles, doing some test drives. I'm excited. Maybe meet Fairway Ford Mike, who you've been talking about.
Mike Mondays is one of my favorite trends on social media going right now. So, yeah, it would be an absolute honor on my part. But, yeah, I would love to get down there to Fairway Ford down in Canton, talk to the fellows, get some ball talk going. I mean, you know those guys are busting their behinds off every single day trying to get the best deals for their customers. I'm sure they wouldn't mind taking a quick break to talk some Shadur, Cam Ward, whatever's on their minds that Friday.
I have a feeling Fairway Ford Mike just knows ball. I don't know about you, but I think he knows. I think he's a ball
Maybe
knower.
he'll have like a Timothy Chalamet type of appearance on the Big Factor.
Speaking of, man, that dude is on a generational run. Just won another award for The Complete Unknown, which I need to go see, where he plays Bob Dylan. But anyways, Luka Doncic has been about 2 weeks, Jack, since he's been an LA Laker. Now, the reports was they were concerned about his weight, his habits off the court, a reason they didn't want to sign him to that max extension when he was eligible. They trade him, ship him off to the Bay Area to play with LeBron James and the Lakers and company. Now, it comes to find out, these concerns weren't just brought up right now. These were made over months and months of time, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, there are some reports coming out that it's been long-standing, like talking borderline since Luka came in the league, that they were very much against him drinking alcohol and smoking hookah, which is that like, I've never...
Hookah, yeah.
Well, what is that? Is that like, it's not...
There's like hookah bars. It's like, it's not like I don't think it's nicotine.
But it's not like drugs either, right?
No, it's completely legal. In fact, I'll Google it right now.
Okay.
Water pipe used to smoke tobacco.
Okay, so basically,
like there's hookah bars that you can go to, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, this even goes back, Ryan. It's weird to me. If you remember the video of when they won the Western Conference Finals, what was that? Was that last year? Or it was recent, I believe.
The Mavericks?
Yeah.
That was last year.
Yeah, last year. And there was the video that came out of like he had like a beer talking to someone outside the locker room. Then like the GM walked up and kind of just like snatched it from him. And Luka made like a, oh, not again type of face almost. And that's kind of where my mind keeps going on this, Ryan.
I saw that.
I wonder how long this really has been festering within the organization, because you really do have to see a bunch of signs like this in order to move on from a young superstar. And Twitter had a field day with this too, because they just brought up a bunch of old pictures of Dirk looking like he was walking out of a frat party back in his days in Dallas.
He was fucking wasted.
Oh my God, yeah. Are you thinking? Yeah, I'm probably thinking of the exact same picture you are.
Him with the two ladies?
Yes, that is the exact picture I'm thinking of. Yes,
Luka is a little chunky. He's a little chunker, but he seemed to slim down even a little bit since he went to LA. Here's a picture of him smoking the hookah. Yeah, I've never tried it. I don't imagine that I would like it.
Definitely not.
I don't know anybody that does hookah personally. I thought it was more of a thing you go to a bar and do it. I don't know if it's like a something you do on a regular basis. Like,
well, evidently you can do it wherever he is in that shot. Looks like a vacation, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe TMZ snapped a flick of him while he's on vacation.
Hey, but the Lakers look good, so I don't know. We'll see how that ends up.
Dude,
it's hard to imagine the Mavericks come out winning that trade in any way, especially with AD not playing. But I don't know. I guess we'll see.
It's been like, it was a weird NBA trade deadline. We talked about Jimmy Butler a lot when that happened and how head-scratching that was. He's putting up 25-5, and the Warriors are playing awesome basketball since he got to the Bay Area. Like, I don't know, man. Things are just kind of turning weird, and we kind of predicted both of these things working out in a weird way a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Steph actually just turned back the clock a little bit. I think he just dropped
56 last night, right?
Piece. Yeah,
crazy.
Turning back the clock, hitting half-court shots like the old Curry we know. Well, NBA Centel, guys, it's back already. When we wrote the script originally.
Oh, I'm doing that.
When we wrote this originally, they got banned, but some people are saying it was a PR move to get more followers, because if it was, well, it certainly succeeded. I think I checked, they're at 300-something. Now they're at 400-something thousand followers. I mean, they're not the OG. That's the crazy part. They're not the OG. Buttcrack Sports tweeted about that. Respect the OGs, but they're the biggest parody account by far on Twitter, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a long time coming where I would just get duped by these different various websites. Going back to The Onion back in the day, they used to write the fake newspaper articles. They'd always give me occasionally, but Ryan, I mean, I will gladly admit it, hand up. I get faked out by Centel at least once a week, sometimes more. And it's always funny, too, because Dunk Central is the account that it's a parody of, correct?
No, it's a parody of the NBA Central.
But like the name of the account is Dunk Central, isn't it? It's NBA Central, but like the name is Dunk Central.
Oh, maybe.
But like it's always funny when
yeah, you're right.
It's always funny when that account tweets out something real and people are like, "Oh shit, it's not Centel."
I just said that I checked, they were at 300-something thousand, and then yesterday I looked, they were at 400-something thousand. Now they're at 535.2 thousand followers.
So that was the move for Centel.
If it was a PR stunt, then yeah, I mean that definitely worked out.
It's kind of a cool thing whenever you see like these bigger businesses, because like obviously these sports accounts make memes, team pages make memes also. Like you see the Guardians post some memes sometimes, but you never really see them get too far out of like the mainstream of what's going on. So it's always funny when like this happens and you see like random sports teams tweeting out their win graphics have something to do with Centel, or it's kind of like back in the day when every single sports team seemingly tweeted out an RIP Harambe for no reason. Like, it's just one of those things that it's kind of funny. It breaks the normal humdrum of sports almost.
I used to get upset at accounts like that because I would get fooled off them, but now I know the signs and I know to tell if it's fake or not. I find it funny, the amount of people that fall for it. But, like, the people that run NBA Central, like, they live for this because this most recent, like 12 hours ago, they tweeted Steph Curry tonight. And we just talked about how he dropped 56 points. He literally just for some reason posted Steph Curry 63 points, 20 for 27, 15 for 19 for 3 points. Like he just randomly buffed up his stats just the littlest bit to make it funny. Like they live for this, Jack.
Oh, absolutely. I wonder how we would do running in a type of account like that.
I think we do fine. I mean, we basically, if we just converted what we do now to that, I mean, pretty much the same effort. I feel like
stay tuned.
Probably even less. We could just
definitely less. Definitely less effort.
Attempt to.
We have full-time jobs, so that is
and we send out accurate information. If we could just type whatever we wanted, I mean, it wouldn't be hard. I wonder how much money these guys make from this stuff. Like I know Twitter doesn't pay as much as
I would bet they have full-time jobs and just run that on the side.
Yeah, because I mean, you talk about a perfect passive income. You just send out troll tweets. I mean, what's better? That's the American dream.
I can give you this. One of the hockey influencers I follow on Twitter, he always posts the receipt every single time he gets it. Like, hey, like drinks on me tonight, fellas. And he is like, I would say like 14,000 followers. And he's like a fairly active Twitter user in terms of like stuff going like pretty viral and retweetable content. And I think he gets like $50 a week it is, or every 2 weeks. So you obviously have to multiply that by 100 maybe, or by 50, but nothing crazy.
Yeah. I love it. They have the Kevin Durant, you got Centel. It's interesting how in our culture something like that becomes an actual phrase. Like you got Centel. Like it's a verb almost. Like you got Centel.
Yeah, I mean it goes back to Tebowing back in the day. You know these things can pop up and be, because that kind of went away though. But I do know Google entered the dictionary recently as a verb. Google? Yeah, like to Google something is now a verb.
I'm surprised it took this long.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this is like 3 or 4 years. It's not. Well, okay. It didn't happen yesterday, but.
All right. Well, speaking of basketball, last thing here. Rick Pitino has got St. John's absolutely buzzing, Jack. They clinched a share of the Big East for the first time since 85. Am I reading that right? With the win over Seton Hall. Or excuse me, a win over Seton Hall would clinch the first outright title, that is, since 85. They swept Dan Hurley and the UConn Huskies this year, Jack.
Yeah, and this is just such a cool story because whether you're a college basketball fan or not, the Big East kind of is college basketball. It's not. There's no super leagues going on here. There's no Alabama flying across the country to play Oregon. It's just these teams in this nice little cove, and they play each other every single year. Requiem for the Big East is one of the best 30 for 30s. And St. John's, one of the best programs, most historic blue blood programs in basketball. Cool to see them get back to the top of the mountain. And also, like Rick Pitino, for people older than us and our age, obviously, like we remember Rick Pitino was a great basketball coach from a great basketball family. Once you hit a certain age, though, maybe younger than us, you know Rick Pitino from Sandra's Rose by Drake. Rick Pitino, I take him to strip clubs and casinos, you know? That's how people know him these days. So good to see him kind of reach the top of the mountain a little bit again, kind of get that program going, because it's fun when the Big East is good at basketball.
Betting on Big East basketball 2 years ago was my lifeline. I made so much money. They were the most fun games to watch. Like UConn was
like the old Ewing battles back in the day.
UConn was amazing. Marquette was good. Marquette was, honestly, they were great. They flame out in the tournament, but they were great regular season team.
Oh, they had that. What was the kid who couldn't read?
Oh, Tyler like
Kolek, maybe?
Kolek, yeah.
Kolek, yeah.
And they came out and they're like, no, that's not true.
Yeah, that was
He
Centel.
was a dog. He was a dog. Providence, like Seton Hall, we mentioned. When Big East basketball, Cincinnati used to be in the Big East. Xavier, when Big East basketball is good, college basketball is good.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's kind of hard to even give a college football comparison to it because of how big the SEC and the Big Ten are now. But you know how, in a way, growing up, like if there's a year where the ACC can throw you 2 or 3 good teams, it's like, you know what? This is a good year of college football. Like maybe Clemson, Dabo's running down the hill. He's got his swagger back. Maybe the U comes out of nowhere. It could be next year in college football, actually, with Carson Beck and the Cavender girls heading down to Miami Gardens, Coral Gables. So, hey, we'll see.
Yeah, I heard from a reliable source he saw Haley Cavender in person, not what she appeared to be online, but color me shocked. All right, Jack, we got to take another break. When we get back, The Athletic gave the Guardians an offseason grade. I'm going to see if it matches your grade and where it stands up against the other teams in the Major League Baseball. All right, we'll be right back. Hey, everybody. Welcome back into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke. We're flipping it over to baseball. The Guardians got an offseason grade from The Athletic before we go into what it was. Listen, the Guardians didn't make any flashy moves this offseason. No surprise. They really rarely ever do, but they brought back Carlos Santana, who feel like he's been here a million times on a million different stints. Glad to have him back, though. You bring in Paul Sewald, Luis Ortiz to try and shore up that rotation. On the other hand, you get rid of Andres Gimenez, a fan favorite, with the platinum glove, but the bat wasn't cutting it worth the money that you're going to have to pay him. Josh Naylor heads to the Diamondbacks out west. Matthew Boyd, we say goodbye to him. But the good news is you bring back Shane Bieber, who you hope to be back around All-Star break. I think that'll be massive. You saw what the Yankees were able to do when they brought back Garrett Cole, along the same lines of what the Guardians are planning to do in terms of time. Jack, what did the Guardians get for their offseason grade, and what are your thoughts?
So The Athletic went real simple on us here. No pluses and minuses, just A, B, C, D, and F. Gardo's come away with a B grade.
Okay.
So there were 5 teams that got an A, so 5 teams who had an objectively better offseason than us.
I want to guess when we can.
Okay, I will have to go scoop the article from somewhere at some point in time, but I think I have a decent idea. And then there was 8 other teams who also got a B grade, and that would mathematically a little bit over half the league sits behind you between C, D, and F. And Ryan, this is such an interesting one to me because, and this goes with almost any Guardians offseason, there's almost an asterisk to every single move made, both good and bad. Let's look at the departures first. Inherently, like you said, losing a platinum glover in Andres Gimenez, not a good thing. But when you're a small market team who can't afford to pay a guy $15 million at $230,
I love the move.
I agree. Could be a good thing. Josh Naylor, is it really tough to take 25 home runs and 100 RBIs out of a lineup that wasn't exactly overproducing in the first place? Yes. But does he have some injury issues and coming on a contract year that would make sense to maybe get rid of him for the right price? Absolutely. Was Slade,
And also, let's just real quick, Josh Naylor, let's not pretend like he's irreplaceable on defense.
Oh, no, he's
horrible,
not defensive
horrible,
either.
Yeah.
I mean, that,
which doesn't win you games, I understand that, but that's still a factor.
Yeah, and I mean, Carlos Santana is a great defensive first baseman, and hopefully we'll see it. That's another weird thing with Kyle Manzardo, not to get too off topic from our ratings, but I would like to see Kyle Manzardo out in the field at first base, so I know that we at least trust him to play for, because I believe he DH'd every single game he played last year, which is kind of crazy, because usually you'd think like we try and get guys moving in the outfield if they can't play their OG position, but regardless, I digress on that. Losing Matthew Boyd and by extension, in a way, Alex Cobb too, it sucks to lose Matthew Boyd. He was awesome once he pitched for the Guardians last year. He was great in the playoffs, and the chances he was given probably weren't going to pay that guy $16 million next year, so that would make sense. So, Ryan, it's really odd, but the additions don't really do it for me either. I don't really hate any of the departures, but of the additions, I love Carlos Santana, man, but at a certain point, if you're going to go for it and try and develop, I do want to learn more about Kyle Manzardo. I am great with Carlos Santana as long as it's not at the expense of more than 80 at-bats for Kyle Manzardo this season. Paul Sewald, that's the one that really blows my mind. It's a lot like Scott Barlow last offseason.
You know who loves the Paul Sewald move? Like,
Who?
absolutely is over the moon about it? Bruce Drennan.
Well, maybe let's get Bruce on next week to debate me on this because, and I know you can't, relievers are the hardest thing to judge in baseball. It's almost like a kicker where you have Dustin Hopkins, goes out, has that awesome season 2 years ago, hurts his leg, oh shit, never the same again, misses half his field goals. That's how relievers are too. It's such a year-to-year thing.
It's interesting, right? Because he was a reliever, right?
Paul Sewald, he is a reliever.
But so now he'll most likely, I'm assuming, act as a setup guy for Class A.
That's what it sounds like, but it's just so weird when we cut money this year. We're about $9 million less in payroll than we were last year. The bullpen is the strength of your team. And obviously, out of Gaddis, Herron, Smith, and Clase, you're going to see some regression.
You can't expect what you got last year.
You can't, but you have 4 guys you really trust there. You have other guys like Franco Ailman, who's on his way up, Andrew Miziazik, Andrew Walters, who's probably the biggest name of those 3, who you're expecting to make some form of an impact on the bullpen this year. You were comfortable enough where you got rid of Eli Morgan. It's just very odd to me that when you cut money and you're under $100 million on the payroll, obviously you're paying Bieber like 7 this year and 16 next year. Jose's getting his like 23, so that's like half of it right there. So out of the other $50 million for your other 22 players, you're spending $7 million on a 35-year-old reliever coming off not a great season. That's just a really odd move to me. I think I would rather almost split that in half and go get 2 Eli Morgan type of guys for $3.5 million personally and bank on one of them working. And then last one, Luis Ortiz, it's just such a wild card. He was awesome out of the pen last year for the Pirates as their long reliever, was so good that he worked his way up where it's like, hey, we know you want to be a starter. Go out, get your reps. We got room now. Because Bailey Falter couldn't pitch his way out of his own ball sack last year for the Pirates, so that opened up the spot for Luis Ortiz. He was great, so maybe he'll turn out and work. But man, Bieber, I almost don't really count towards this because you really, most places in baseball, you expect to get your ace back. But yeah, you got him back on a good contract. So I'm fine with B, Ryan. I really am fine with the B offseason as the grade because I like Santana. I think he'll help. I don't think his play discipline will let him fall off too much regression despite age. Sewald's kind of a question mark for a lot of money. I like Luis Ortiz, and I don't really care about anything we got rid of.
Well, listen, you're not going to get an A, I don't think, unless you make like a type of move that warrants attention to the level of like a Juan Soto. And it could be less than that, but even like a Cody Bellinger to the Yankees, right? Like the Guardians are living and dying by their small market formula. You're banking on players getting better, younger players, your Kyle Manzardos, right? You're even Steven Kwans, who, oh God, I hope, please have an extension somewhere in the near future. And you're counting on guys like Juan Brito, Aniel Martinez, and eventually when you bring up Travis Bazzana to be your superstar, hopefully a little sooner than Jose's decline so you can see those together. But I wouldn't be shocked if you see a world where you start to see Jose decline and then Bazzana becomes that superstar that we know that Jose is. But that's the small market formula for baseball teams like the Guardians. They work with what they have.
And the one great thing about Jose Ramirez's decline, which is coming, which no one is talking about, is it's not like Jose Ramirez is just going to go down and be a 220 hitter one day. Jose's going to, probably not this offseason, he's going to play third base this year. Hopefully maybe there'll be a point in time where you can trust, I don't know who would be the best glove out of these 3, but we talked about a couple days ago on the show how it might be tough to get Bazzana the proper reps because of other guys that are fighting for a spot right now who are a little bit older than him. Maybe there's a world where next year you come out and go Bazzana at second, Brito at short, and Rocchio at third base, and Jose's ready to DH. You tell Jose, go to McDonald's, you have fun this offseason. You have a couple cheeseburgers, and Jose Ramirez, who's a hell of a pull hitter when he wants to be, is going to eat some cheeseburgers and pull a bunch of balls off the foul pole and hit 40 home runs. I think Jose Ramirez home run uptick is actually going to grow with age because I think he's going to just not totally drop the contact, but I think after this year or two, you're going to see Jose be like a 250, 35 home run, 90 RBI, 790 OPS guy who's really just going to tank the ball, and that's going to be fun as hell to watch, Ryan.
It'll be interesting because Jose has said he loves playing third because he gets more in a rhythm, which makes sense. And we've both played baseball. Like being out there defensively, you feel warmed up. It's hard to come in and just be a DH. It's impossible.
That's basically the other thing why I'm sorry to interrupt you, but why I hate DHing Manzardo so much when he's so young.
I know.
Is the one thing that is tough about playing a progressive field.
That's why I hated watching Josh Naylor play first, man.
Exactly. But like the one thing you got to know about progressive field is that scoreboard out there above left field is the biggest in all of sports. So if you're a kid like Kyle Manzardo who's getting up to the majors for the first time, maybe I guess it'll be third time technically now to start the season. If you're DHing every day and you're not helping your team in the field, all you're thinking about is your at-bats, right? And if you start cold at the plate, you have the biggest scoreboard in professional sports telling you that you have a 220 batting average or a 180 batting average early in the year. And it eats at a guy because that's all you're doing when you're not helping your team in the field. So I want to get the young guys at-bats because like Jose's an established vet. If we have to move him to DH one day, tough shit if you have a bad batting average in April. But it's tough for these young kids, man. That's why I do want to get them out in the field a bit. That's how you learn.
Speaking of learning, I learned something yesterday, and it's not to ride on Jack's bets. He had me bet the Guardians' money line to beat the White Sox. He said the White Sox will be throwing out plumbers after the fifth inning, Jack. That didn't necessarily work out. It was kind of weird to see James Karinchak in a White Sox uniform. It almost seemed like he looked good, though, like he was meant to be a White Sox. And now that I say that, I don't think that's probably nice to say about James Karinchak, but I thought he looked good in the threads, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I will never be a fan of the tight pants that that guy wears. Nothing will ever
the ladies
change
love
that.
them.
Yeah, the ladies do love it. But yeah, I mean, you got to think 0-5 in the Cactus League. You had the White Sox on the schedule. That's got to be your cupcake win. No, it's not. Guardians 0-6 in the Cactus League. Is it a Steven Vogt sophomore slump?
Oh God! Don't say that. Don't say that. That's the last thing I need to think about.
But no, we are more than good. Well, like we said earlier this week on the show, do not pay 1 second of attention to spring training outside of guys. And like I said, Ryan, I said it a million times, do not pay attention to spring training. But I must say, Tristan McKenzie only going 2/3 of an inning and walking 4 batters against the Chicago White Sox minor leaguers did not instill a ton of confidence in me,
There's
Ryan.
still a lot of people with confidence in Tristan McKenzie. I'm not one of them. I've been out on him for quite a while. Listen, if you don't have command, you're not going to make it in Major League Baseball. The one thing managers can't stand, I can't stand, nobody can stand is walks. You can't give free bases in the major leagues. They'll make you pay for it, and we've seen it over and over and over and over and over again. And listen, you'd think at this point his command would be a little bit better. I understand the injury history, but sometimes if you're sitting on the pot, you got to go do business or you got to move. And I think this is the year that really decides Tristan McKenzie's future for the Guardians.
Totally, and it's the exact same case with Logan Allen. Like I'm a much bigger
man.
And I'm going to say it. I will admit, I'm a much bigger Logan Allen guy than most people in Cleveland. I still think that there's a very good starting pitcher in there somewhere. He's a weird one to me where 2023, he has an awesome rookie year when he comes up. 2024, he didn't have it. He did not have confidence. He started to kind of short himself a little bit. Logan Allen got too scared of getting beat across the middle of the plate, so he kind of towed around on the outside, tried to hit the corners.
Punch it past you, man. And if that's the case, you got to be perfect.
Exactly, and that's where both of Logan Allen and McKenzie kind of went to Columbus around the same time last year to both figure out this issue of getting your confidence back, dominating the strike zone a little bit more, not being afraid of getting your stuff in the strike zone, and being able to beat someone and not getting beat when you're throwing, I don't know, maybe a changeup at the bottom of the zone or like kind of trying to hit on your fastball in a corner at the start of the at-bat. And it's one of those guys that's going to have to step up and take a spot in this rotation from the start of the year because there are young guys who are going to be ready and hungry. I mean, Gavin Williams came out awesome. Future friend, big play friend, Doug Nikhazy came out strong early on, had 2 scoreless innings, struck out 3 batters as well in his debut. He's a guy he's on the 40-man roster now, and hey, he's 24 years old. He wants to fight for that rotation too. You know, he doesn't want to sit in Columbus all year long. So there's going to be options. So as you said earlier about LTA and Tristan, you got to either shit or get off the pot.
February 28th, 2025, Jack. Does Travis Bazzana have an at-bat for the Cleveland Guardians next season?
Having a bat? Yes, 1,000,000%. I think assuming he doesn't just have a bad year in the minors, which, hey, that's possible. I mean, he could still be a great major league player and have a bad year in the minors, you know? But assuming he doesn't totally fall off, at a minimum, he will be the 28th man called up on September 1st to take 25 at-bats. Like, we're kind of looking at how, like, Jose got called up at the end of the 2013 run before that wild card game against the Rays. Jose was up all of September that year. He was one of our bigger prospects at the time. Get him his 12, 15 at-bats, be in the field a little bit. I would be shocked if Bazzana wasn't the same way. And Ryan, before we hit break, though, we got to hit a little bit of hockey, too.
Oh, please.
Not my Vegas Golden Knights. I know. I just had this in the car. I was like, I don't know. Like, we need like
Real
a change
quick,
of vibe today.
so what's that about? Why did you migrate to the Golden Knights?
Yeah, so honestly, I didn't have a favorite team when I was growing up, and like I just thought it almost was like, because I was like a sophomore in high school. It's like, okay, like it's an expansion team. It's the first hockey expansion team in my lifetime. Like they're probably gonna suck. It's gonna be
already
like
won
funny. They won a Stanley Cup in year 6. Yeah, or sorry, year 5. So. For me, it was like, okay, like they're going to be like a funny story. I love Marc-Andre Fleury, who they took in the expansion draft as their original face of the franchise. He was a goalie for the Pittsburgh Penguins for a long time. And then it was kind of sad. So I think it was 2 days before the home opener was when that Vegas shooting happened that I think killed 56 people like out at that concert in the Open. And that was like a pretty endearing moment for me as a fan, just like watching that opening game in Vegas. And Derek England, who was one of the assistant captains for Vegas that opening year, played minor league hockey in Vegas because obviously they never had a professional team before, but he played out there. He gave like a pretty heartfelt speech. And I don't know, like I'm a little guy. I'm 5'7", 100 pounds. Like they didn't end up being an underdog story, but they had that underdog story vibe coming in. A bunch of guys who were told they weren't good enough by their organizations. And yeah, I fell in love with that team.
All right, what's going on with the Blue Jackets, baby?
Blue Jackets, and I've been a guy who the few times they've come up on the show this year, I'll put my hand up in the air. I've told you, don't believe in them, don't put any stock in them. But hey, Ryan, here's the thing now. We're starting to get to that point in the season where the Columbus Blue Jackets just won't go away. They had a dominant win last night over the Detroit Red Wings, who they're fighting with for a playoff spot. James Van Riemsdyk, JVR, tipped in a couple of shots. Kent Johnson, the young star, had a goal as well. And they're a team who's rallying around the death of Johnny Gaudreau, and that's their best player. I mean, that was a critical piece of this rebuild for the Columbus Blue Jackets moving forward. Even Kirill Marchenko, who was their star last year, has kind of been budding this year, has been injured, and they just keep finding a way to win. The Athletic put out an article a couple days ago about the best lines in hockey, and right now that I think it's Corrali, Johnson, and JVR line is one of the best in hockey. So, I mean, they're fun to watch, and they got that outdoor game coming up. So, even if you're not a hockey fan, tomorrow night at the Shoe, the Jackets and the Red Wings are going to duke it out for a spot in the wild card race.
Yeah, I saw the layout of what it's going to look like. It looked pretty cool. I mean, like I said, watching the Four Nations face off, it gets you a little bit into hockey, so I'll certainly be checking that one out.
It's dumb they're doing it, though. It's dumb they're doing it, though. I cannot stress this enough. I'm going to go into my little rants. So it used to be the NHL had they had 2 outdoor games a year. There was the Winter Classic, which was January 1st every single year, and that was like a spectacle because we only did it one time a year. And then there's 6 teams that are from Canada, Ryan, so they would play a game called the Heritage Classic every single year, where just 2 of the Canadian teams play in the heat of winter up in Alberta or Manitoba or some shit. Everyone freezes their ass off, fun times, pond hockey. But the last 7 or 8 years, they've done this thing called the Stadium Series, where they just put random ass outdoor games like this one outside. And what makes an outdoor hockey game cool, in my opinion, especially for a sport like hockey, where people like you, Ryan, might not be watching it every single night, is that you get this chance to have your one day of the year where it's outdoors and you're getting more than just hockey fans to watch. When you put 15 hockey games outdoors a year, no one gives a shit anymore. And it also kills how big of the Winter Classic is as well.
All right, well, you certainly have a gripe with that.
And stop putting the Blackhawks in it. Nobody cares about the Blackhawks. They've already been in the game 15 times. Put some new teams in it.
I wish I could agree or disagree, but as I said, I don't know much about hockey. All right, we'll go Blue Jackets tomorrow. We got to take one more break. When we get back, Bhad Babie. Everybody knows who Bhad Babie is. I don't need to explain, do I?
Catch me outside. How about
I'll explain when we get back here after the break. And Hooters, guys, going out of business. I think it's confirmed. I don't know. Sad day here. We'll break that down when we get back here on The Big Factor. All right, I don't think I need to explain who Bhad Babie is, but for those who need a reminder, Danielle Bregoli, she went viral after going on the Dr. Phil show.
How long ago was that now?
Gosh, that had to have been at least like 12 years ago, Jack. And she went viral for having her meltdown. The Catch Me Outside girl, you probably know her as that. She's since made music, which, listen, I'm not saying it's great, but I'm not going to say it's horrible. Take that for what you will. She's in the news because she's got beef, Jack, with Alabama Barker, who you let me know is Travis Barker's daughter. Obviously,
yes,
the famous drummer from Blink 182. Yeah. I don't know anything about this, so please enlighten me about this beef.
Yeah, I don't know a ton more than you, but this is all the rage on the internet right now. It's from like half of my TikTok algorithm and a lot of Twitter as well. I don't know why they're even beefing. It's kind of odd that Travis Barker's daughter and Bhad Babie have a beef for any reason. But Bhad Babie dropped a diss track on this girl and just absolutely bodied her. I mean, Ryan, the internet is going insane over Bhad Babie's rapping skills right now. You said it earlier. The music isn't great. It's not bad either. She can rap. She can rap.
Yeah, listen, I've heard some horrible rappers, both male and female, and I'm just telling you right now, she's not horrible. She's not horrible.
I mean, like, we're talking, like, I believe, I apologize if I get Miss Bergoli's lyrics wrong here. I believe she opens the song, or not opens, but like the first couple of lyrics, you're getting a hold the Drake out the window, it was God's plan. I mean, like, we're talking like she is going hard at Alabama Barker here.
Wait, what was the line?
Hold the Drake out the window, it's God's plan.
Wow, that
I mean, like, she's coming hard at her here. Like, and yeah, it blew up on her TikTok page as well, over 5 million views now. Ryan, is it just the year of beef? We talked about it last year on our end of the year awards show. Who won 2024? And I said beef was back in general.
Say beef was back.
I think beef's back, right?
I'm glad to see beef is back because it makes things interesting, even when you don't really know who Alabama Barker is. So is she a singer too? Do you know?
No, she's just like an influencer.
Okay, so she's just famous for being Travis Barker's daughter?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Well, yeah, I kind of want to read into this and figure out what the beef's about.
It can't be anything that serious. It's probably very trivial if I had to bet. But Ryan, also, speaking of people rapping music recently, have you seen the video of the McNeese State basketball manager rapping with the team in the tunnel to In and Out by Ludfo?
No.
I mean, let me tell you, Ryan, and again, this is not gambling advice to anyone at home, but the McNeese State, I don't even know what their nickname is. They're going to go to March Madness again. They were there last year. Like, I remember that was like the big, they were everyone's big underdog bet because they were like the pace and space, fast-paced offensive McNeese State. The Cowboys, hook them. They're going to be back on the tournament this year. They're first in their conference. And there was a video of their student manager who's just like, probably like 5'5", chunky Hispanic guy, just like rapping with the team going out of the tunnel. Almost like, kind of like 49ers, Super Gremlin, Trent Williams, and Debo vibes. And it is hilarious. And the internet's all over that one as well today, Ryan.
Wow. All right. Well, last topic today. Hooters, guys, I'm going to be honest. I don't know exactly what's happening. I think they're going out of business. There's been talks about
going bankrupt.
But there's been talks about celebrities. I saw something about Kelly Clarkson trying to save Hooters or something like that. So I don't know if it's going under, but that'd be a sad day. Jack, you have an admission to make.
I do have an admission to make. I do regret to admit this as Hooters is going out of business. Shout out to the fine people over at the Owl. I have never been to Hooters before, right?
Yeah, and you wonder why they're going out of business.
So are you blaming this on me?
Gooners like you won't even go to Hooters anymore.
So I mean, you're blaming this on me now.
I'm not blaming it solely on you. I'm blaming it on the fact that Gooners don't go to Hooters.
When was the last time you went to Hooters?
Well, fun fact, less than a year ago. I was in Cincinnati, and I was staying at my friend's apartment, and she lived literally like next to a Hooters, and then there was no other food options until you got to like campus. So I would literally for lunch, I stayed there like 3 days. I went there for lunch like 3 days in a row. It was probably weird as fuck. People are like, why is this dude just coming in for lunch for Hooters every single day?
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't have a choice, and I mean, it was Hooters. I'm not going to complain about it. Like, it's not great. Don't get me wrong.
Compared to B-Dubs, how are the wings?
B-Dubs food isn't even that good. So
no, I know. That's what I'm saying.
So like, I just put it on the same level.
Okay.
Like, I actually got their like chicken salad, and it was actually pretty good. Like, but the wings are good. The wings are good. Like, they're like good. Like B-Dubs, like you said, they're not crazy, but they're good.
Okay.
But they have what B-Dubs
Where's there
doesn't.
one near here? I just don't think I've ever seen one
That's
before.
That's a pair of Hooters on every waitress that walks around. I don't think B-Dubs has that.
No, because is it all female servers at Hooters?
I would hope so. I mean, that's the ones I've been to. I don't want to go to Hooters and see a dude in a skirt.
I don't know. I'm just curious. I've never been there before. I don't
Would
know.
that make you more inclined to go? If
No. I'm just
skirts?
curious how the business operates. I was unaware.
A couple fat dudes with Hooters of their own.
I mean, why not? Yeah, spread the love.
I can think of a million reasons why not, and I probably wouldn't go to Hooters if they had male waiters. I think that's, you know what, I'm going to go off on a hunch here and say I think that's kind of their niche. Their niche is that women with Hooters walk around while they give you your food.
Yeah, no, that definitely is fair to say, yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to blame Jack for Hooters going bankrupt. Luckily, we're not bankrupt because we're still here. We'll be back Monday, same people, same time. Guys, I'm not going to spoil anything, but seriously, we have something just insane
This is
coming.
going to be a fun one.
Insane coming Sunday, a special interview with the guy. All I'll say is this, he's been mentioned on the show multiple times. That's all I'm going to say. We have him
Get ready, Brown.
coming into Cleveland. Yeah, get ready, LeBron. It's going to be funny. You guys are going to love it. We're going to have content all weekend. And lastly, I do want to, for whoever is still listening, whether there be 1 or 10 or 100, Jack, we're going to a fundraiser today for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I believe it's because of Rebecca Maxwell and our guy APJ. It's like $10 to get in, I think.
Always producing Jay, baby.
Watch the Cavs tonight, take on Boston. There's going to be raffles, drinks. It'll be a lot of fun. Do you remember where it's in the flats?
Something golf club.
Yeah, gosh, what a promo.
I mean, we got, what time is it right now?
10:53.
And we want to show up at like 6 probably. You don't want to be there first people, don't want to be the last people there.
Maybe we'll tweet it out. Maybe we'll tweet out from the Big Factor.
Yeah, we got 7 hours to figure it out.
We'll
so
tweet
we
out
got
from the
time.
Big Factor, let you guys know if you want to come see the boys hang out, watch the Cavs, hopefully beat the Boston Celtics. But until then, we'll see you Monday. But remember, Sunday, we got something special coming. Until then, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you to Fairway Ford. Thank you to Garage Beer, and we'll talk then. See ya.